Hello and happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I wanted to make this video some time back. I started making this video months ago comparing Guinness Extra Stout to a beer many of you may not have heard of, and that's Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. I will tell you right now, I am no stranger to either of these beers. Though the Foreign Extra Stout, I'm playing with the candles. The Foreign Extra Stout is actually hard to find, I think, in America for the most part. And you can find it if you look for it. The Foreign Extra Stout's actually a top-selling beer in Africa, Asia, and some other parts of the world, but namely Africa and Asia has a big market for the Foreign Extra Stout and has for quite a few years. These beers have been around in their present form for quite a while, over 200 years, both of them. And if you go on if you Google it and you go on Wikipedia, at least I did, you'll find that these two beers, they actually tell you what's in them. On Wikipedia, it's not a secret. They'll tell you the type of grain and hops they use. They'll tell you the history of these beers, and I was going to read all that, but I thought that'd be kind of much because there's quite a bit of history behind both these beers, quite a bit. And both are out of Dublin, Ireland, which is why this is a St. Patrick's Day video. It's also one I was looking forward to make because I love both these beers, I'll tell you right now. They're very similar, yet they're different. And I'll get into a little bit of what I know about them, what I've read up on quite a bit on these. We'll start with the Foreign Extra Stout, which was hard to find, but I did find it actually locally. One store carried it. This was $8.99 for 4 bottles. The Foreign Extra Stout is 7.6% alcohol, which is fairly strong beer. In Africa, that reminds me, it was marketed in the 1960s, the 1920s, right up through the 60s. The marketing blip, or saying for Guinness Foreign Extra Stout was, this beer gives you strength. It gives you strength. And I think they still say that. And in some parts of the world, not in America or Europe or Britain, this beer is known as Black Dog because the label, which now looks like the traditional Guinness label, you can see it without me holding it up there, they used to have a black dog head on it. It was kind of like a brand thing. In the Philippines, this beer was marketed for global, worldwide. And what else can I tell you about this? The way they make this beer in Africa is they brew a pale ale malt, malted pale ale beer. And then in Ireland makes an extract, like a syrup, of the darker stuff with the hops. So they add that into it and mix it in, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of brewers brew, it's called extract brewing, to where you buy the malt, like a syrup, already pre-made. And it makes fine beer that way. I've never done that, but I know how to if I had to. What else to be said about this? This beer was first brewed in 1801 in Dublin, Ireland. And it was specifically made for the Anglo-Irish workers in the Caribbean, or Caribbean, however you want to say it. And it first was exported to the United States in around 1820. So this beer's been around a while. And the recipe hasn't changed much at all since. So it's been a very popular beer for over 200 years. And it still is. This beer accounts for 45% of Guinness's beer sales worldwide. and that's saying quite a lot. Its popularity, it's like a #1 selling beer in a lot of places like Nigeria, some places in Asia, Philippines, Caribbean. You'll find this beer. And I found it in Wegmans at Auburn, New York for $8.99 for 4 of them. So, the beer that it's hard for me to find this, or I'd probably buy it more often. Let's talk about its younger brother, not much younger, Guinness Extra Stout, which is widely available, as far as I know, in America. Very similar label. This one's a little smaller though. I think you get 11.5 ounces in this versus 12 in this. I don't know, let's see. Let's get the I don't knows out of it. I can't read it. 11.2 ounces. They're ripping you off. 11.2 ounces in this. Guinness Extra Stout. Guinness Foreign Stout. What's in this? How many? The same. 11.2 ounces. You know, the standard in America, and as far as I know, Canada, it's 11 ounces. Or 12 ounces. 12 ounce bottles, 12 ounce cans. Which makes me wonder why the Guinness comes in 11.2 ounces. I don't know the answer to that. This beer came out in 1821 in Ireland, and it was, designed for the Americas and mostly in Anglo-Irish taste. This beer was specifically designed for export, and they had already back in the 1820s, or 1801 for this and 1820s for this, the people in Dublin at what is it? It says it right on here. St. James Gate, Dublin, Ireland, they were already thinking of a global market for both these beers. And they must have known that they were on top of something with both of these, and they were. Because it's St. Patrick's Day, and I'm doing this Guinness beer review because you think Guinness, you think Ireland. It's like a national icon, like the harp, which the harp on the label goes back to O'Carolan, the harp, the blind harpist, Ireland's bard, and Guinness took hold of that. And the very first Guinness labels had a harp on them. Well, the early ones did. I couldn't tell you about the first ones, but I was looking at pictures of really old Guinness labels. Here's one. I'll just flash some up here and there while I'm talking. I'll put a few pictures up of the brewery and the labels and things. They sell a lot of both of these beers, a lot, globally. Last I knew, they were opening up a brewery, and Guinness Brewery in Baltimore. I read in the news about a month ago. And it's licensed, but they have to use the same recipe. Somebody that was in Dublin told me they drank the Guinness Extra Stout here, or the Guinness here and the Guinness in Dublin. They said it tasted the same. I'm going to have to go there and find out for myself. And when I do, hopefully it'll be this year, I will definitely report back to you. So that's some history on these. Again, this is 5.6% alcohol. The Guinness Foreign Extra Stout is 7.6% alcohol. This one is 40 IBUs, which is not extremely bitter to balance all that malt. And this one is about 45 IBUs. A little more bitter, and it's going to need a little more to balance the higher alcohol. So, 1801, designed for foreign export from Ireland to originally the Caribbean for the Irish workers, and then they marketed Africa and Asia with this. They make it with a extract, like a syrup that they add to a light ale and mix it all in, and they let this ferment for quite a long while. Originally, when they made this, they were very, if you look it up on Wikipedia, I hate, the reference, they give you quite a bit of history and details on the making of this beer and the marketing of it. And they let this stuff sometimes age for up to 2 years, I read, in wooden kegs to get it just flavor that they want it. They know what they're doing. They're onto something. And same with this. They're pretty exacting about how they make these beers. So, without further ado, let's move these and let me get into this beer. This is my Saturday night off, or not really actually. At any rate, I have to be honest with you. I'm making this video on Monday night, not Thursday night, St. Patrick's Day, because I have to work late Thursday night. So I figured I should do it now because a good chance I won't be feeling like making this video Thursday night. And if I did, by the time I got it uploaded, it would be Friday morning. So yeah, this is like my Saturday night off, Monday night. And in 2 more weeks I go into early retirement. And I have mixed feelings about that. The end of my work life, I go into partial. I will be working part-time. I'm kind of looking forward to it, and I'm kind of sad, melancholy, If you're there, you know what I mean. If you're not there, you will know what I mean. All right, to the beer, to the beer, to the beer. Let's pour this one. I've already done a beer review on this. You can look it up if you care to. Oh, I gotta do pour it into gotta do this part. Now I would say normally that the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, it's a heavier beer. I would actually use a smaller mug for it. This beer's been in the fridge for a couple of days. Both of them have. I'll tell you the temperature for this review, scientific review. Oh, that's my dog. He just ate quite a bit of chicken. The temperature of this beer is 51, 49, 47, 46, 46, 45, 45 and holding. This beer is 45 degrees Fahrenheit, and that figures out to 7 degrees Celsius. So there you have it. Not much head on this, I don't know why. Alright, let's take a look. Let's pour this one out. The Foreign Extra Stout is next. 2 labels, so 2 side by side. Alright. Foreign Extra Stout into the mug. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I really love this stuff. I don't buy the Foreign Extra Stout too much because I've got to kind of travel a bit to get, well, not really too far. But I probably should buy it more often. The extra stout is readily available pretty much everywhere, to my delight. Yeah, darker beer, isn't it? Well, let's see here. Let's give them the old candle test. Compare the colors of these beers side by side. Extra stout, foreign extra stout. And when light's passing through them, that is how they're going to look. Oof, burn the glass. Alright, enough of that nonsense. Enough of that nonsense. Oh, I'm having fun. It gives me something to do today. Foreign extra stout on the left, extra stout on the right. Any questions, laddie and lassies? Whatever. I'll try not to do an Irish accent for you. The whole Ireland, I love their beers, I love their music, and I love the color green. And I've loved a few redheads. But, get into that. The Celtic music, I give my mother 100% credit for that. She's the one that got me into the Celtic music. She paid a good deal of money for me to take music instructions when I was about 10, 11 years old. When we didn't have the money then. But she came up with it. Like $30 an hour, $35 an hour, and that was a lot of money back then. A lot of money. But my music instructor was really good. The guy could play fiddle, guitar, banjo, anything with strings, mandolin. He could play anything very well. And he got me into Celtic music. Strictly, he got me into bluegrass and Celtic, but namely Celtic music. So I acquired a taste for 6/8 timing and such, Celtic music a long time ago, and it stayed with me my whole life, and I got to thank my mom for that. Thank you, Mom. I know she's not in that picture, but you know, I like to give her credit. I know she's smiling down on me from somewhere and would be happy to see that I'm remembering her and honoring her memory like that. Honor your father or mother. That's one of the 10 Commandments. All right, so I smell malt in this. Oh, found out what was wrong. I was sick, but I'm better now. But it was strep throat. It was going around, and the antibiotics seem to be working. I don't smell so much of the malt with that. They smell malty. It smells like malt. Not bad. I don't smell any hops. So that leaves taste. I'll start with the extra stout. This is still my #1 favorite beer and has been for a long time. Has yet to be dethroned from that honor. Tastes malty, tastes kind of molasses, treacle. You don't get the hops up front with this. You taste kind of like coffee and molasses mixed together. You know what Guinness Stout tastes like probably. If you don't, get some. Try it. Yeah, I love it. It tastes like Guinness Stout. Molasses and coffee mixed together. All right, so very full. You get the bitterness in the back of your throat, back your top of my palate. I get the bitterness. Up front is smooth and rather sweet. and then bitter. So bittersweet. Good definition of that, bittersweet. Before I have any more of that, let me cleanse my palate. I've seen somebody do a beer review where you're supposed to eat some bread or something. If you're going to review more than one drink, wine or beer, a little piece of bread. I got a baguette where I got this. All right, now this one. It is a darker beer, isn't it? The color is darker. And it would be, actually, if you read the ingredients that they tell you on Wikipedia, they tell you the percentage. This one is darker. The dark malt is roasted barley. They use more roasted barley, which gives it the color and also the taste. All right, so without further ado, it's got more flavor to it than this. This really tastes like molasses, and kind of, I don't know, it's kind of challenging. I get the molasses and the hops up front. It tastes like, I don't know, what words can I use? Molasses, coffee, and hops. It's good. I can see why they sell a lot of this worldwide. Black Dog. They call it, I've read that in bars, even though they stopped using the label with the Black Dog hat on it, they still, in some places in the world, when they order one of these, they order a Black Dog. Oh, a little bit of trivia. Hey, this beer's been around for 221 years and counting worldwide. You know there's going to be some folklore and trivia on this beer. This is it's a little more bitter, a little more stronger tasting version of this. Actually, the best way to describe it. Oh, I'm delighted. Two of my favorite beers right in front of me. You know, if I'm in the mood for a stout, this is what I go for. And, oh yeah. This beer, I say again, I wouldn't serve this in a glass this size. Honestly, it's like a 16 ounce, 17 ounce mug. Made by an Irishman, actually, in Vermont. These Simon Pierce mugs, which I collect, they discontinued these, as far as I know. Simon Pierce has a glass studio in Vermont, the state of Vermont, and he still runs it. And I read today, looking up, actually, he's from Ireland. So there you go, Irish beer mugs. Handmade, no two alike. But if it was me, actually, it is me. But if I was just drinking this beer, and I had like an 8-ounce glass, I would use a smaller glass for this and just kind of pour a little and savor it. You know, this is definitely, to me, not a beer you'd want to drink fast. Neither is this one, really, but this one is much easier to drink than this, for obvious reasons. This is 7.6% alcohol. This is 5.6, and this is more bitter and has more hops in it. and more malt in it, more bitter, more hops. It's a heavier, more bitter beer version of this with more kick to it. Yeah, there's a lot to be said. I got these big Viking-looking Irish-made beer mugs. A lot to be said for a smaller mug, actually, which would be suitable for just pour a little, drink it casually. Maybe 10, 15 minutes later, pour a little more in. 8-ounce glass. A lot to be said for a good mug that size, and I had one, a nice one. I broke it. Oh, I can't believe it. It was a great mug too. I made a beer review with it. Really wild looking mug. If I didn't break it, I'd be using it for this one. I might make a video on what goes into making a great beer mug. Oh my God. Which one do I prefer? Good question. Can't talk with my mouth full. If I was just going to sip a beer with an 8-ounce mug, maybe 2 of these over a period of time, I would say this beer. If I want to get my Irish freak on, so to speak, it would be this beer. But this is a very filling, fairly strong beer. And this one is fairly filling, not quite as much, and not so strong. Easier to drink. Much easier to drink. This is like almost double what this is in terms of flavor and how filling it is. Now, oddly, you see this one has pretty good lacing on it. As you can see, the lacing tells the history of each drink. As where this one has some lacing, but not so much. And I'm rather surprised at that, because usually the Guinness Stout does very good lacing. Maybe it's the way I wash the glass. If you have glasses and you leave any soap residue at all, it will completely kill the head on your beer and the lacing. So probably has to do with how I wash these glasses. Might not have rinsed this one good enough. So what's all this got to do with St. Patrick and St. Patrick's Day? I can tell you that where I live in New York State has a fairly high percentage still of Irish people, Irish ethnic backgrounds, who came here to New York in the 1840s and up. So they celebrate St. Patrick's around here quite a bit. A lot of Irish, Italian here, if you look at the ethnic groups, and then you got everybody else but the, what's that got to do with, why doesn't anybody ever talk about St. Patrick? It's St. Patrick's Day, but nobody talks about St. Patrick. Hello? You know, you think about it, take away all the glamour and all the Hollywood or whatever you want to call it, and you're just talking about a young man, Welshman, who went through quite an ordeal back in the Dark Ages, pretty much. I didn't look the dates up. I should have, but you can if you want. And suffered quite a bit at the hands of the Irish, who were pagans. And, you know, he was taken prisoner and made a slave and lived in very harsh conditions. And he was a devout Christian, and we think of devout Christians from back then as some kind of, I think, some kind of other human being. But he was somebody that loved God and he loved people, sincerely. Why is that such a foreign concept? You know, let's talk about St. Patrick. You know, the man got his freedom. He escaped eventually, went back home to Wales, where he was living, by contemporary standards, a very comfortable life in a wealthy family, Welsh family. And he chose to go back to Ireland, where he had a high risk of being killed or enslaved again, and go to these pagans, and preach the word of God and tell them about Jesus Christ. You know, and he risked his life, you know, because he loved the people of Ireland that much. And he almost was, you know, he went through, you can read his story, but he went through quite a few trials, and he worked some miracles as well. And I believe God worked through him. Honestly, you watch my videos, you know, in my younger years, God worked through me, and he still is, I trust. But God does work miracles. I've seen them firsthand. And if you watch my videos, like the eagle and the serpent, and the spirit hawk, and the wolf in sheep's clothing, I mean, these are like miracle things. And God does still work miracles. And he worked through St. Patrick. He worked through him. So, I don't know what beer drinking, and I know the shamrock is the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I don't know what all the booze has to do with St. Patrick, quite frankly. I don't know, but here's the St. Patrick, either way. What's my lineage? Not a lot of Irish in me. There's some. Mostly English, and a lot of Scotch, a lot of Scottish, Scandinavian through the Scotch Orkney Islands. I already knew this because my grandmother was from Scotland, and she was a Randolph, which was the Randolph clan. And if you look up Randolph clan and their tartan, you'll see that the Randolph clan is the same as the first Bruce. And they were the first kings of Scotland, was the Randolph clan, which I'm related to. And I told my kids that. Not that a dime will get me an order of French fries, or else works as it should. You know, resting on some, you know, whatever. But yeah, my daughter did the DNA test, and lo and behold, yeah. And we were part Scandinavian through that. Yeah, because the first Bruce of Scotland was a Viking, Elgud the Elder, which I'm a descendant of, you know, way, way removed. But you go back far enough, the Dark Ages, yeah, I'm related to that guy, the first Bruce of Scotland. And some of them Anne said they were from Orkney, some from Scandinavia. I told her, yeah, we're Scottish and English and Scandinavian through the Randolph clan, who were the first kings of Scotland. And they probably had a lot of, I imagine they were very fruitful, given their position. And then through my father's side, well, that is my father's side, the Scottish side. My mom's side's English. My father's side is German, Swiss, and Scotch. My mom's side is English, almost all English, and part African. Found out I am 3% African American. That was a surprise, but actually I already kind of knew it. I think some of my ancestors in Virginia, which came here in 1607, the Wootons, they were both slave owners and they were slaves. So I got all that American history behind me. And if you go back, my dad's side were Mennonites. Johann Christian Schenk came here from Switzerland as a Mennonite, and my middle name, Joseph, is named after one of his grandsons, Joseph Schenck, who broke from the Mennonite church to marry an English woman and took the C's out of the name. At any rate. But there are a few Irish names actually in that whole big tree. We're all related to each other, honestly. If you're watching this video, I'm probably related to you. I don't see it. You know, I look at God's kingdom. Who am I in God's family? That's what counts. Who am I in God's family? Well, that one's done. I've often said that. You know, as for the African American ancestor that I have, I know a lot about him actually, and I have one of his letters here. And he's got a very interesting life. He lived to be quite an old man. Born in like 1841. This is St. Patrick's Day, I'm sorry. Yeah. Maybe I'll tell that story about him. He became an ordained minister. He's a very spiritual man. And I have a letter from him. He wrote the way he spoke. So if you read the letter, you get how he would speak. And he talks about God quite a bit. He was a lonely person. He actually served in the Civil War on the South Side for the Confederacy. And he lost a leg in the Battle of Drury's Bluff. My dog's telling me, Tim, wrap this up. Man, you're going on too long. But Irish, yeah, I've got some. Mostly I give my mom credit for introducing me to the music, which is with me to this day. And on St. Patrick's Day, I am going to sing. I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to sing Raglan Road for you on St. Patrick's Day night, so it'll be late. I hate to say it, I caught a little bit of a head buzz off this. What does all this have to do with St. Patrick? I'll let you answer that one. But St. Patrick was a person who loved God first, and he loved people the way Jesus loved people. And I've been saying that in my videos. If you want to learn to forgive, he forgave the Irish for all the abuse that they put upon him. He forgave them, didn't he? He forgave them the way Jesus Christ forgives. He loved them. And he went back to give them the good news of Jesus Christ at a very high risk to himself. He didn't think twice about it. So if you want to forgive the way St. Patrick did, you have to learn to love the way Jesus Christ did. I think that's a good place to where to leave this. I'll finish this off and give my dog something to eat. He's got a squeezy toy. I'll let you witness the squeezy toy thing with him. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Now, how on earth, sorry, how could you be mad at a face like that? Wait, be nice to him. Don't you hurt him. Alright, this is pretty corny. I don't know if I'm even going to publish this video, but these are both excellent beers. I definitely will buy these again, God willing. Both of them. What does it have to do with St. Patrick's Day, Guinness? You tell me. It's made in Ireland. I guess that's what it has to do with it. A lot of things are made in Ireland. Irish people are made in Ireland. I mean, you tell me what drinking has to do with St. Patrick's Day. Well, I'll tell you, I think it has to do with the immigrants that came over here from Ireland had a pretty rough time. Very rough time. They were treated pretty harshly, and it definitely wasn't a racial thing. Obviously, they're white, but they were treated rough because they were Catholic and they represented old world Catholic, and America was kind of, well, we're brand new. We don't go for the old stuff from the old world. And I don't know, people are just haters. I think just about every group has had people that hated them that came here. But they had a rough life, and I guess maybe they drank a lot. There's, you know, it's legendary, the Irish and their drinking, but whatever. The Irish people I know, yeah, they drink, but not as much as you might think. What do I know? Zip. Well, alright. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Two great beers, legendary. Try them. If you can find this one, give it a shot in an 8-ounce glass. Drink it very slowly at a fairly cool temperature. This one's worthy of a pint glass. Okay, until next time.